Welcome back, guys. My name is Brandon, and this week we're going to be finishing up our radar speed display trailer. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, go ahead and click up above. I'll have links to those there. But in brief, to get you up to speed, what this is a trailer mounted speed display. The way this works is that the local police department sets this up in areas where they want to reduce the speed, and what they'll do is there's a little display that goes up here at the top. It's digital, it's right there. It displays the speeds of the oncoming vehicles. Inside this little area here, there's like a radar device. What that does is that beams out a signal and it displays the passing motorists their speed. It doesn't write tickets, it doesn't do anything like that. They don't use it to write tickets. All it is just to make people aware, particularly around school zones. I had some recent comments lately that all this is to generate revenue for the city or whatever it is. It doesn't work that way. All it does is literally measures the speed of the car that's coming towards it and displays the speed. Hopefully they see that and they recognize that that's the speed limit because they post a speed limit underneath it and they slow their speed down. And that's the purpose of this sign. That's it. No more, no less. The reason they're having us build this is that they make a specific trailer for this, but it's like $3,500. And we are doing it for about a third of that. So it was just a budget issue. That's why we're doing it. So let me explain to you what we've done and what we got left. So this is a pretty decent trailer that we picked up from Harbor Freight, and we put it all together. It's pretty heavy duty. Like I say, check out the other episodes. I'm pretty impressed with this trailer. We put on 3 jacks, and now we're fabricating up a swinging mount. So this right here folds down. We'll need to attach these little bumpers into this because that's what those fold down onto. We also got to attach this little solar device, and this solar device is what charges the batteries that are inside this display. There's little batteries inside there that display the speed, so that's what charges them up. So we're going to do that and more in this week's episode, so stick around. It should be interesting. This is how this gets transported when it's in the folded up position. So this is how it would be going down the road. So I'm just centering up these little rubber bump stops and making a mark here on the metal, and we're just going to drill and tap it. So you can see how that will fold down. That'll just bump into that, and that'll be nice and secure. Then after we get these drilled and tapped in, we'll put a couple tabs that come up, and then we can put a pin through it like that so that this stays closed when it's traveling down the road. I've got a little 1/4-20 like panhead bolt that'll work really good for these little bump stops. You can see how that goes through there. So that'll work. That should work really nice. So I'll drill it out with a size drill bit sized for 1/4-20, and then I'll just tap it out. I got a tap and die set. We'll tap it out, and it should be good. So now I just got a 1/4-inch tap, 1/4-20, there we go. So something like this, I'll actually just kind of like put into the drill and just keep going back and forth, slowly, just like you would by hand, but I just do it with a drill. And then I just use tap stick. It's just made for tapping holes. Just put it on it. It's like a dry lubricant, and that's all you do. There we go. There. We'll just put this all together so it's all mocked up. Then we can take it all apart right before we paint it. Now with our little bump stops attached, now we're just going to put a couple tabs on, just like this. There'll be a hole through it, and then we can just put a pin through, and that'll help keep this down so it doesn't raise up going down the road. Now I could just weld them on like this, but we're going to do a nicer job and we're going to round off the edges. Again, just doing these little details are what's going to give this a custom or factory look, and it's going to appear as though it was something that was manufactured versus something that we just built in our workshop. So I'll show you how to round off these edges. So what I usually do is, to round off edges, I just take usually like a washer or something that I like the looks of, or the shape that I like the looks of, and then I just kind of center it up so it looks somewhat even, and then just trace out the shape that you're going for. Now that might not be quite enough. Maybe I want a little bit more, so I could always just use a little bit smaller of a washer. If you wanted something a little more rounded and steeper, you can just use a different size washer. And I think this is the size washer I'm going to use right here. So we'll go something like that. Yeah, I like that better. So I'll transfer that onto a clean one, just like this. And we'll make a mark on it. Then we'll bring it over to the bench grinder and we'll grind it. But to save time and so that these are duplicated and they're equal, I'm going to end up clamping both of these together just like that and grinding them both as one. And to do that, you don't have to do anything fancy. Just clamp them together with a pair of vice grips. Keep things cool, I just use a laundry detergent cap. This is how you measure out laundry detergent. This works excellent for like sharpening drill bits and small tools like chisels and even small parts like this. Like just keep it right by the grinder. Works real handy to keep your part cool. And I'm just grinding to my white line. And I'm just dipping it in the water to keep it cool so I can hang on to it. And to deburr them, I'm just going to use a little Scotch-Brite disc on a grinder because I really don't want to change the shape or carve into it too much on the edges. There, now that's nice and smooth. Then we'll just have to probably cut it to length, then we can drill our hole through it and weld it on. It's little details like this, guys, that really set things apart and may set you apart from the next guy. Yes, it takes a little bit longer, but the end result is just a better looking product. What looks better, that or just a piece that's chopped off? I think that looks better, and it wasn't a whole lot of extra time, but it just shows that you actually cared and took the time to make it a little bit better. Might give you the edge that you need if you're just starting out. So now I just got it clamped together with the vice grips, and then the whole group is clamped together in the drill vise. From here to here, it measures just under 1 3/4 inches. So what we'll do is we'll measure from the bottom of our hole back 1 3/4 inches, and that'll give us roughly 1/8 of an inch of play to get the pin through. Then we'll cut it all off as a group. Yeah, we'll cut that off right there. Another thing you can do is deburr or chamfer out your holes just using a chamfering bit. Again, just kind of gives it that little bit better feel, and it'll help guide the pin through as well. Yeah, just does a nice finished job. Now we just have to mount one of these tabs on either side of that bump stop. So I traced out around it so I know I don't put it where this bump stop has to go. We'll remove the bump stop so we don't melt it, and then we'll weld on the tabs. And for the welding process, I'm using my Hobart Handler 140, and I'm using 30 thousandths self-shielded wire. I don't typically weld in shorts, but today is about 104 degrees outside, so we're going to make an exception. That works pretty slick. So you just lower this down, then it just goes into that area right there, and then you just throw a pin through it like that, and that keeps it from lifting up when it's going down the road. Pretty simple design, and that's kind of what I wanted, is to keep it simple for them so that it was extremely easy to use, not a lot of moving parts and not having to try to figure stuff out. So now I think we're going to work on that solar panel. So there's the solar panel, and there's a bracket that's made to mount to that solar panel. But again, like I said, this bracket and solar panel and that speed sign, that's made to mount on a telephone pole, kind of like permanent. So we're going to have to just kind of make our own mounting system. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but we'll open it up and check it out. Well, we're not doing bad. So we got a couple brackets, we got a couple adjustable pieces. So this looks like probably what allows it to tip up and down. And we got some instructions and a bunch of stainless steel hardware. Oh, well, I guess it does pay to read the directions. So this is the cartoon we need to look at for a 50-watt solar panel. So the little black, this little black juliper thing here needs to be facing us. This one here that I was talking about, where it was to my left, is for a 90 or 100 watt solar panel. And you can see right here it says it's rated for 50 watts. So we got to do the 50 watt version. And that's why you can't always go by the cartoon, you know. Alright, so there. Okay, so that's how they want that. Like that. And like that. Oh yeah, we're cooking with gas now. Stand by. We'll have it. I temporarily got this mocked up here, and I've got this clamped here on this tube. So what I'm going to do now is just drill it with a 1/4-inch hole down through and bolt that bracket. And then I'm going to take a piece of probably just some flat bar and weld it here, and then just bolt it right there. So when this goes up into the locking position, that will be at an angle facing the sun. So hopefully that'll work. Kind of tucks it up out of the way. I am slightly concerned about debris hitting that, but it has like a panel on the front, so I think it's somewhat protected. So we should be all set. Now that I've got the speed sign mounted on it and mocked up, I've got the solar panel mocked up, and you can see how it's fairly close right there. Now all I'm going to do is just run a strap down a piece of 1-inch flat bar. I'm not sure if I'm going to catch it from there to there or from there to there, but I'm just going to fix it permanent and leave it at that angle to charge the battery. That should be fine. And then what we'll do is then we can cable tie that like that and then do some sort of connection over there. But yeah, I think that'll work out fine. Then we can disassemble this whole thing, start painting it, and then once it's painted, put it all back together and try it out. That's roughly 12 inches from there to there, so we're going to go cut a piece of flat bar 12 inches long. I've got it marked out for 12 inches. I'll cut it off, measure another 12, cut it off, then we'll radius one of the edges, the side that is bolted to the solar panel. Just like the other times, we'll just use a washer, trace a rough shape onto it to give our metal a finished appearance. There we are. And then we'll clamp them both together to save time at the grinder. I'm going to punch an 1/8 inch pilot hole through, and then I'm going to go through with a 5/16 drill bit. Now I want to weld on these braces while it's in place, but obviously I don't want to take a chance of getting sparks on the back side of this solar panel or on this or on the trailer, so I'm going to cover it up using a welding blanket. And these are super inexpensive and they're super handy to have in the workshop. And they're perfect for doing stuff just like this. And now I can weld this up without fear of any spatter getting on to the back side of that solar panel or up on the sign up here. And I probably should have been wearing gloves. If you guys follow my story, you'll know that this morning I ended up having to go to the eye doctors to get metal taken out of my eye, because yesterday somehow, I mean, I'm always wearing safety glasses, but I don't know, metal must have got in my hair and then went down in my eyes when I was in the shower, I don't know. But unless you put your head in a bubble that's completely sealed, you're going to get eye injuries. You just try to be careful. You know, I can't count the number of times I've been to the eye doctors to get metal dug out of my eyes. Now that we got everything all mocked up, it's pretty much done. Now all we got to do is just take it all apart, paint it up. Once it's all painted, we'll get it outside and we'll try it out. I can't wait to try this thing. I got the trailer out of the workshop and I just finished painting all the components. But have you guys ever seen my paint booth that I've got? Let me show it to you. Pretty high tech. What do you think of this paint booth right over here? Not too shabby, huh? Beats having fumes or overspray in the workshop. So that's kind of why whenever I can paint outside, I try to do that. Just, I don't like the dust and all the crap that gets scattered all through the workshop. So let this dry and then it'll be time to put it back together. Then we can try it out. I can't wait. Still a little tacky, so we'll just have to be careful. I think that's a pretty good match. What do you think, guys? For these little bump stops, I'm just using a little bit of Loctite on the threads, just so things don't vibrate loose. And for pretty much most all the hardware, I'm using stainless steel. Although the trailer hardware isn't stainless steel, I think if you just upgrade to stainless just for a little bit more, it just makes for a better job, and your work will always look good when the other work won't look quite as good. So makes you look better as time goes by, I think. For hardware, I'm using a locking nylon nut. That way it won't back off and vibrate loose. So we don't have to worry about that coming off and vibrating loose down the road eventually and getting a call back. All right, guys, it's done. It's fully assembled. It is right now 5 o'clock and it's 101 degrees out here in Maine. It is smoking hot and it's humid, but let me bring you in and show it to you. So here it is, guys, all set up. This is how it would be in the position if it was deployed. I can bring you in and show you some of the close-up details. So here are some plastic caps that just help finish off all the ends, making everything having a clean, finished appearance. Back here, the only thing I've really got left is I've got to put on some DOT reflective tape that I want to add to the back and the sides. We've installed a tongue jack on the front and 2 more additional ones on the rear. I've tried to use stainless steel hardware throughout, wherever I put hardware in. And where I could, I tried to use a nylon locking nut so that way vibration won't back this off. A little bit more money, but I think it gives a better product. You can see more stainless steel nuts here. That's all stainless hardware there, as well as down there. I've used a little bit of wire loom, protective wire loom, just to add some protection and to make it look a little bit nicer on the outside. And just like I used plastic caps here, I also used plastic caps on the end of the tube there and up there. So on a professional note, I would add that whenever you're working with tube, either put a plastic cap in it or weld the end of the tube shut with a piece of plate and grind it, or even let the weld exposed. But whatever you do, don't leave it open. In my opinion, when you leave an open tube, it looks novice. I don't like the looks of it. If you don't want to spend the time welding them shut, get a plastic cap. I think the contrast between the red and the black looks nice anyways. And I'm also real happy with the contrast between the paint difference. I think it matched really close. This is a gloss, like I showed you, garnet red Rust-Oleum. So this is the original trailer color, and all of these pieces are just bolted on. That's the original bolt that was in that front corner of the trailer. This was added. I think that's a grade 5 bolt, but that's stainless washer and stainless hardware. So the way this works, this is just parked, you know, off on the edge of the road or up like near the sidewalk, and then this has a little radar thing right here, and then it just displays the speed of the oncoming cars, and it just tells you to slow down if you're going too fast. And I don't know all the specific details about it, but that's pretty much the general purpose of how it works. So it's got a couple of locking latches that you can just lock this. Obviously you don't want people getting into this and tampering with it. It's got a couple batteries. I'm not sure if these are like lithium ion or what they are. You can have up to a 3rd battery if need be, and that's what this plug is for. But right now both batteries are plugged in, and you can see this heavy gauge wire right here that leads down to this charger. Well, that's indicating right now that the batteries are fully charged as of right now, according to that indicator. This is pretty much, you just set it and forget it. You don't have to mess with anything. You can see these heavy gauge wires right here. Those come out, and they come down to this. And then I've just cable tied it along the inside of this to give a nice neat appearance. And then they plug in right here, which is the input from the solar device. So if you ever needed to work on it or take it apart, you could just take this connection apart, you know, unplug it right here, and then it's just a matter of taking off a couple bolts and you're all set, and you can replace that if you needed to. So let me fold it up and show you how it works. So you have a couple pins. You really only need one, but it's redundant, which is good. So you just pull out that pin, just set it aside. Then you pull out the other pin and set it aside. And then you just lower it down slowly. And now that this is in the folded up or transporting position, you just slide a pin through here and then fasten it, and that's what keeps this from bouncing up. And those little rubber cushions underneath keep it so it's not pounding around. What I'll do is, guys, when it gets a little bit darker later on today, I'll set it up and we'll try it out. That way you can see the digital display a little bit better. Then you just wind up the jacks. And it's all ready to be towed. Now, if you was to raise this up right now without those jacks being down, it would actually just tip over. It would tip over on its back. So that wouldn't be good. But this is super light, super portable, and it's super easy to maneuver and move around. Pretty slick, huh, guys? And to set it up, we just do everything in the reverse order. So we just pull that. You don't have to go crazy, just tension them up a little bit, just like that. And the same thing over here. Just put a little pressure on them, that's all you gotta do. Pull the pin up at the front, then just stand it up. And it's that easy. It's all deployed and ready to use. And that's all there is to it, guys. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is something that you like, please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. If you wonder what I'm working on before it even makes it up to YouTube, you guys catch me on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll have the links down below. Plus, I'm also routinely updating my story. New videos every Friday, guys, so please subscribe. Hit the bell notification. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, stay safe, take care, see ya. Alright guys, so here it is. They've got it set out by the fire department, so I figured I would take a few videos of it in use, because you'll be able to see it a lot better when it's outside at night. You'll be able to see the digital display. Here comes a car. So the reason it turned off is they have it set to not display anything from 20 miles an hour or less. There we go, here comes another car, guys. See, so it's doing less than 20. I don't imagine they're going to be going very fast right now, because this is actually sitting in front of the fire department. And here comes another vehicle, guys. So there we go. So there's 30. They're going to slow down. If they drop below 20, then it won't register. So there they go. So I would say it works as intended, guys. So on to the next one.